On the northern tip of Saltspring Island, there's a hands-on way to carve out a little character. And renowned wood artist Paul Burke has been chipping away at it since he was a lad.
Yeah, I work with wood. I work with white pine, which is a wonderful sculptural medium, which I get. It's a little bit scarce these days, but Canadian Bavarian Woodworks and Chemainus finds odd white pine logs for me. And so that has been the basis of what I use in my sculpture.
You might say he can hear the wood barking at him as he puts together the perfectly chiseled pooch in his workshop.
When I'm working, I work on usually several pieces or a couple of pieces at a time. I don't, sort of put on a clock. I know that I can make a living doing what I do.
And Paul has a knack for turning dead wood into live action.
So I'm very good, I'm very fast, but it's an accumulated kind of talent and skill.
Paul also keeps an eye on nature when he's out and about, his eyes scouring both forest floors and ocean shores. To us, it might look like a broken branch or a trodden-on twig, but leave it to Paul to pick up on its potential.
The feathers in this rooster are Rocky Mountain juniper, which is a bonsai-like tree growing on exposed coastlines, and which I get literally from my kayak, pieces lying on the ground. It has this beautiful striated surface and angles, which are quite unique.
And while wood sculpting folk art is Paul's passion, it's also his main source of income and has been for years.
And it's very different to make a living and pay the mortgage with your work than it is to do it on a weekend.
It all began in his Vancouver basement back in the early 1990s. Both he and his wife, Anna Gustafson, an accomplished artist in her own right, would create and sell their pieces at folk art stores and art shows. Over the years, they've built a following.
In '96, we came to Salt Spring with our kids, and we camped for 2 years in outfitters' tents in a sort of Swiss Family Robinson plastic house with a dirt floor. But because of the studio tour on Salt Spring, and because people come to Salt Spring for the art, we felt that it was worthwhile to borrow some money and build a gallery.
And this is the result, the Blue Horse Gallery. Just steps from their house and workshop, the brightly lit space highlights all kinds of thought-provoking presentation. You get a sense that a lot of Paul's work celebrates nature and the animal kingdom in a playful way.
I love doing commissions. I do portraits of animals in people's lives. I do dogs and horses and all kinds of animals.
One of Paul's most notable collections is the work found within his circus animal scenes.
And so it became a very whimsical, loose rendition of circus acts. So these, in quotation marks, stuffed animals with button eyes did all sorts of wonderful animated things. I feel that it will find a permanent home, perhaps in a children's hospital one day.
Paul describes his wife's work as more subjective.
Most recently, over the last few years, she's been working in the encaustic medium, which is beeswax on panel with pigments, natural pigments, fused one layer to the next with heat.
This is a diptych, which means that it's a painting made of 2 parts. And it's telling the story of how salmon and its predators, scavengers, and insects are a nitrogen delivery system for the entire British Columbian province from the Pacific Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. I feel so privileged because Dr. Tom Reimken, who researched and developed this theory, allowed me to use his raw data, which is this here.
So she's very much an idea-driven artist. We are branching out and doing major installations, public art installations, Four Seasons Hotel in Vancouver, the Ganges Library, various things that we are pushing out into with our art.
The Blue Horse Gallery is one of 30 working studios on the official Saltspring Studio Tour. Until May, viewings are by appointment, but in spring and summer, they're open from 11 to 5 every day except Saturday, from Salt Spring Island, I'm James Green.